All right, today we're here to talk about new construction, basically, and what's happening in the market. Hi, I'm Kimberly Bean with RE/MAX 1.
I'm Donnie Gandee with Rainbow Homes.
And this is going to be quite a story for you guys, but it's been one heck of a ride, hasn't it, Donnie?
It has been a ride.
Here it is,
Sure.
February of 2022. We're still in the midst of a pandemic that's been going on almost 2 years now. And we want to talk about what nobody else seems to be wanting to talk about. And that is kind of what's happening in real estate and specifically the building industry. It is quite a tale and one that's really affected the way that we do business today.
Yeah, the costs have just dictated kind of the market and what's going to happen going forward in the market.
Specifically supply, shortages, materials. And I'll tell you what, you guys, when the pandemic first hit and we all kind of went into quarantine and stuff, I actually had a little panic effect thinking, oh my gosh, the world is shutting down and what am I going to do for business? And then the opposite happened. My phone started ringing off the hook and we had a lot of people who wanted to build homes, even during quarantine. And we have our own theory on why that happened. People were stuck at home, right? All the time. So they had plenty of time to look for it. And what else?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously as a builder and a general contractor, that pandemic hits, you instantly go, all right, the panic button hits a little bit. And you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? Are we going to be able to finish our jobs? Are we going to be able to work in people's houses?
Yeah, exactly. Physically work in people's houses. I think the biggest surprise, though, Donnie, was the lumber market. And was it that no one was prepared or didn't properly think about, the supply, or they anticipated that there wouldn't be such a great supply, and so they didn't make it, and then all of a sudden we had a shortage? What do you think happened?
Yeah, it's been a crazy turn of events. I think initially when that pandemic first hit and people, weren't sure what's going to happen, plants shut down, didn't anticipate the amount of construction that happened, what transpired in a few month period with the government lowering interest rates, and it became very appealing to new buyers to purchase. And what happened quickly was everything started getting bought up. You had factories that were shut down because of the fear of the virus, and then had to ramp back up. The demand was so high they couldn't meet the demand. There might have been a little market manipulation in that process as well.
Supply and demand.
Yeah,
right?
It drove costs up quickly.
In our industry, in real estate in general, we noticed a shortage of inventory, and I think for the same reasons that you said, people weren't thinking about moving, and yet we had all these people who were able to buy and there was nothing left. And I think as a result of the low inventory of resale, everybody started, well, let's do new construction, right? And then surprisingly, I think unfortunately, should I say, the effect just kind of kept snowballing, didn't it? It started with lumber, and then
it just spread.
Yeah,
it spread like wildfire.
It was every kind of windows and things like that. I mean,
lead times grew. At one point we were 4 months for windows. We were
that would normally take 2 weeks or something.
We were on a 2-week time schedule for every window order as long as I can remember. I've been doing this 37 years. It's been a 2-week window on windows and doors. I don't even want to, I guess I could tell you quickly the amount of time that's taking now. Our suppliers are telling us, as soon as you get under contract, let's order materials now.
Well, normally you're not ordering until you need them, right?
Yeah, a few weeks or a few months out or a month out. Now, garage doors are 6 to 9 months, appliances 6 to 9 months, windows still in that 16 weeks time period, trusses 2 months. It's really
I want to say one of the biggest issues that we had to deal with was, in fact, the lumber. And I mean, it had gone up at one point like 4 times as much as it originally was. And that was difficult. I mean, I know we're not the only builders that had to do it, but we had to go back to clients and tell them, you know, that it's going to cost more because of the lumber. And I think that one of the things that people don't understand is they're like, well, why don't you just buy the lumber, you know, that you priced me with today, and why don't you?
Yeah, the cost and the risk. I mean, you're assuming was not cheap. It is not cheap. You have to be able to store it,
secure it,
move it. I mean, there's so many. I mean, if you have 10 houses going, you know, 10 lumber packages is a considerable amount of money.
To just leave it laying around at the lot.
Yeah, you just can't do it. I mean, if we're close to a build, if we're close to starting a build, which we've done in the past, you obviously, we want to take that material and try to minimize costs to the buyer and to ourselves, but ultimately we are taking a huge risk. You know, if that were to you know, fall subject to theft or weather ruin it or something. But yeah, I mean, we try to weigh that and do the best we can for our customers, but it's definitely been
it's been a very challenging couple of years, I must tell you. So much so that Rainbow, and I'm guessing that potentially other builders are doing this. So the hardest part of my job as a salesperson is having to go back and ask clients for more money and for them to not expect that they're going to have to come out. So we are setting those expectations ahead of time and letting people know, you know, we still have 6 to 8 weeks before we can order lumber, and sometimes it has to be repriced, priced over. So we've actually kind of changed the business of how we're building homes now. Is number one, we recognize there's still a huge demand and we still want to build houses. But we've gone so far as to, I refer to them as spec homes. Maybe you can explain a little bit about what a spec home is, but that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, so a spec home is basically, we're taking the risk up front to build a particular model and get that cost more of locked in to a number where we don't have to go back to a customer after we're under contract and go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, we really need more money or we're not going to be able to
finish the house, right?
So
pretty much.
So it's a good and a bad thing. We're kind of dictating the home and what's getting in that initial under roof portion of the home, but we're controlling the cost for our buyers where we don't have to go back and say, hey, we need more money.
Exactly. So that does kind of, like you say, take out of the equation the ability to make it fully customizable. But I mean, we've been selling homes long enough that we kind of see what's trending and what people like, and so we're able to kind of make some of those choices. But again, I mean, we like the idea of being able to have inventory and know that the price that we set is going to be the actual price of the house and not have to go back and do it later. So that's what's happening right now in new construction.
It's a crazy world.
Yes, and nobody seems to be talking about it. So I thought it was really important to kind of get, you know, Donnie's perspective, because he is a builder, and you know, Rainbow's been building homes for a long time, and we've been enduring this for almost 2 years. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. Where do you see this going? Yeah, how much longer do you think that we're going to be going through this?
Great question.
And we'd probably play the lottery if we would know the answer to that, right?
I think if we had the crystal ball, I don't know that we want to know. It's really an unknown, because I think there's so much going on in the world that can affect everything that we're doing.
Right.
So
for now, we're doing the best that we can. Like we said, we are building spec homes in our last couple of our communities.
Yep.
And we'll be able to deliver those this year, right? That's our plan,
that's the
to deliver this year. But we do still offer the ability to spot build. So on your own lot or one that you're looking at, we can still provide the same services and do the very best that we can to try and get those costs to where, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So, you know, these spotlight builds that people want to do, just be aware that, you know, there is a risk, of your costs going up if and when we were to go under contract.
Yeah, from the time that you go into contract till you actually break ground, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen first before
time.
You can make those big purchase items of lumber and materials and things like that too. So depending upon how the market's going, is going to affect those prices and our completion times. Honestly, what would your best guess be about how long it's taking to build a house? Anywhere from like maybe 8 to 10 months.
Yeah,
I think that's a good conservative. Don't you think?
I do. Each lot is different, though. Like spot lot would be, I think, the tricky factor. More control in our communities that we're building in ourselves. But some of those dynamics, like the permit process in some jurisdictions has gotten way more streamlined because of the pandemic, which is weird.
And others have gotten worse, though, haven't they?
Others have gotten considerably worse. So, it's weird how some counties have thrived with the more remote working, uploading documents.
I've actually heard that in a lot of industries too, not just ours, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Certain jurisdictions are still not back in the office. It's hard. I don't know how they've not mastered the virtual uploading documents, which that's hard to believe.
So many factors involved here at this point, right?
Yeah, so it's so bad. Some counties have thrived, and that's a good thing. That it's helped us speed up the process on some permits.
Right.
It's good.
Well, thanks for filling us in, Donnie, on what the market's doing. Maybe we can do this from time to time to see what's changed, if anything's changed, and continue to guide our consumers, our buyers on, what to expect in any event. Is just kind of what to expect. And, it's always changing, and we're just kind of going with it, aren't we?
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Awesome. So if you have any burning questions for Donnie, private message me and I'll get him to answer them for us. Thanks, everybody.